Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of international rugby. This one, France taking on Australia. It's been a hectic day already in terms of international rugby. We saw New Zealand versus Wales. We saw Japan versus Georgia. Fiji versus Spain was a bit of a last-minute thriller. And just recently, South Africa versus Ireland. A match that was built up as one of the biggest of the year. But I have to say, I think that the match of the weekend is still well and truly on the line here if we see one of these two sides step up, or maybe both, to be able to really cement a brilliant performance. Looking through at these two lineups, as you can see on my sides, we have got both lineups of these two teams, but starting off with the French, the home side, it is Jean-Baptiste Gru in the front row alongside Julio Marchand and Montagne. Once again, slotting in at 3, Flamand alongside Emmanuel Miafu. So we actually see the change compared to what we saw last week in the game for the French, making that change in the number 4 jersey. Gelange, Charles Olivant, and Gregory Aldrit, they all make up the loose forward trio. Maxime Luku gets himself the start, with the Garrick still struggling from some injuries. Also there, Roman Intermac in the 10 jersey. Louis Biel-Biarrey out on the left wing. Galfiku and Nicolas Deportier make up the midfield. He was one of the standout players in that game up against the Fijians. Damien Pinot and Thomas Ramos close out the starting lineup for the Australians. They have got Angus Bell, Matt Faisler, and Taniela Tupou as the front rowers. Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams in that locking duo. So no Lukan Salakai Lotto in terms of this starting lineup. Also actually not making his way off the bench in this game either. Taniela Tupou, though, a huge man. He is going head to head with Jean-Baptiste Gru, so that will actually be a really entertaining scrum battle on the field. Tom Hooper, Fraser McRae, and Harry Wilson, 3 men who love a turnover. Same can be said about the Les Bleus loose forward trio, so it could be very fast-paced in those breakdowns. Jake Gordon and Tane Edmed. We've seen a lot of rotation from Joe Schmidt when it comes to that 9 and 10 combination. No James O'Connor for this contest, so they don't even have him off the bench to fall back on. Instead, Edmed alongside it will be Filippo Dungunu, I believe it is, as that replacement 10 option, but then also they have got a couple other options that could slot in there too. Leonard Cattell in the midfield alongside Joseph Suoleti, and then Dylan Peach, Harry Potter, and Max Jorgensen. He is there as the 15. But we are very close to the start of this game, ladies and gentlemen. That South Africa versus Ireland match ran about 2 hours, 10 minutes in the end by the time it was finished, which means that there was no gap in between these two matches, which means I haven't actually done a review of that game either. We have got there, biltong is dried meat made out of dead meat that has been run over in scrums, says Power Bite. And we have got there, I think in the context of the Boss Island rivalry, the Boss struck a massive psychological blow today. Absolutely dominated the Irish, says Power Bite. Yeah, that was a heavy carding game, wasn't it? 6 yellow cards throughout that fixture, 5 of which against the Irish. I have to say that has to be the most penalties that they have conceded in any game quite some time. South Africa again makes me lose my mind, says Jared. Like, that's the thing. I know that a lot of South Africans are probably happy with the win, but disappointed with how they got there, if that makes sense. I feel like that was the common phrase, or at least the common feeling that we got from people in the chat. They were happy to get the win over Ireland, but they would have loved to, like, with the amount of domination at scrum time, would have loved to rack up a few more tries as well, just to really stick it to them that little bit more. You can't say you beat France without Dupont, says William Crosby. South Africa should have hit 40, at least against us, says Geza. And also we have got there, that game too much, says Xander. And also take Edmed, say goodnight. Australia, says Powerby, and poor performance from Ireland. France, when they get it right, are the best team to watch. The WDF is going on with rugby. The AB is not ruled by laws. No permanent red card for Ireland. WTF, it is a joke, says Johan. And also we've got the England and the Box, the only team to go unbeaten. Yeah, at the moment, England are on a 10-match winning streak at the moment, but throughout these November internationals, they have won all of their contests as well. So your 6 cards isn't even counting the rescinder one. That is actually, not counting Artigas that did get taken away. It was infuriating. They didn't score more points. And so who do you support? I'm guessing the Aussies. I don't really have a team. I'm from New Zealand, so it should be the All Blacks, but we've done that many live streams on the channel. I think we're up to about 2,000 live matches now that I've just gotten used to calling things down the middle. So I've turned into one of these people who would rather see a good game of rugby than a team that I want to win, if that makes sense. Like, I'd rather, that Wales versus All Blacks game, I'm glad to see that Wales were able to get themselves some decent points on the border, gave the Principality Stadium something to cheer about. These two sides, they could be competitive. Australia sitting 0 from 3 throughout the November international, so they will not be one bit happy with that. But at the same time, there's a bit on the world rankings side of things. I've mentioned about it for the sake of the Rugby World Cup draw. I actually want Australia to lose this game. Sounds weird. Sounds like I'm, traitor and whatnot, all that. But if Australia finish 7th, it means that Australia are in Group A, and then that will mean that they are along someone else in the top 6. So that would mean the opening contest, more than likely, of the Rugby World Cup would be either Australia versus New Zealand, Australia versus South Africa, versus Ireland, versus France, versus Argentina, or versus England. Now, as a neutral heading into that World Cup, that's what you want to see. There are other games that we might see instead if Australia are in the top 6, but I just feel like that type of match is one that just gets everyone up, ready to go for the next World Cup. You shouldn't wear a tie for the Wallabies. She plays it with a toilet roll, says Soch there. And when will England be matched against a decent side? Well, the game up against Argentina could certainly be a decent test for the English, happening just around the corner. And also La Marseille, Vive la France, and there as well. And why didn't Clark get New Zealand man of the match? I think it was Satiti's 150 metres that he made and his carries that did end up giving it to him. But I do think that Caleb Clark definitely right up there for man of the match contender. I actually had to turn off the coverage early. Does anyone know who got man of the match in the South Africa game? My pick was Thomas du Toit, but he wasn't one of the 4 options that they gave. Les Bleus. And also we have got there since when do Australia sing 1 and 3? I thought it's Young, says Youngko. So it used to be Young and Free, and then about 10, or maybe 10 years ago, someone got offended with the fact that they said Young. So then they had to change it to 1 to say that everyone was included in the anthem. But that was the logic behind it, or something along those lines. I think Marks. I don't know about that. Don't get me wrong, great player, deserved man of the match last week and didn't get it. So maybe they were just trying to make up for that. But he had far from his best game out there on the field. And we have got there, I don't care who wins, I just hope the ref don't decide it. Like the AB's Wales game, says Johan Jacobs. I feel like we're going to hear about that till the next World Cup, aren't we, Johan? Everyone needs to stop getting offended at everything, says Yanko there. And Ramos, says Roof there. And it sounds like at the Stade de France they are doing the a cappella version of the national anthem. Who was the man of the match with South Africa? It was actually Malcolm Marks who received it by the sounds of it. And God Save the King is offensive. Not sure I even watched rugby, says Stephen. And French side looking determined during the anthem. Yeah, they look fired up, ready to go for this match up against the Aussies, which you just know is going to be a great way to close out today of rugby. And the best thing is we've got 2 more games tomorrow. England versus Argentina. Tonga taking on the Scottish. Well done, Fabian Holland. 1 breakthrough player of the year. Did he? Have they already announced who won those? Or he was nominated for breakthrough player of the year. Has he actually won it already, Johnny? Malcolm Marks could well be world player of the year. He was superb tonight. A well-deserved man of the match award. Irish legend Rory Best. Interesting. Well, I mean, to be fair, if that's what they're saying from this game, that tells you pretty much Oxenshare's not winning player of the year, is he? Sadly. Because, I don't know. A player of the year been announced. Says it's Nino. Wait, player of the year or player of the match? And Matthew Carley was actually man of the match. And there, yes, seems to have been announced as a winner. That seems like a weird time to be announcing the winners of it while the international rugby is going on. But nonetheless, these 2 sides just about to take place out there on the field at the Stade de France. And Holland should definitely get breakthrough. He was a minutes and tackle machine, says Gumby. Yeah, pretty much thrown in the deep end with the injury of Patrick Tuipulotu, getting that opportunity to show what he could do, and he certainly did just that. But the countdown now, 5 seconds before this match does get underway. Oh, not quite. Actually, that was a different countdown. They were counting down to showing Luke Pearce, who will be the referee in charge of this one for the year, says ex-Nino. Interesting. Well done, box from an Irishman. It was a physical battle, and the box won that. Had to give it to our boys for true grit and determination. Otherwise, it would have been a row. Tell you what, Ireland just didn't want to give up, did they? In the later stages of the game, FYI, Malcolm Marks has been just announced as World Player of the Year, says Anthony. Countdown to the countdown, says Stephen. Right, we're ready to go now. This is the official countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're underway. Can I ask a question? It's probably involving Andre Pollard, isn't it, Mohadin? But go for it. Kicked off by the French, going from left to right, and we are underway again. Third international match of the day that we are covering. Luke Pearce is English, says a big rig. And also is LTO playing, says Naz Williams. Salakai Lotto here is not already a line break there for the Australians. It was actually Angus Bell who was finding himself through the gap now, going off Gordon. Finds Tate Embed, shifting this away to the right-hand side for the Australians. They've got themselves the penalty advantage, and it's awarded as the penalty for offside against France. At least the chat on this game is slower. The chat was crazy. To read with the bot game, says Xander. And yeah, at times I was trying to dodge the ones about the refereeing and decisions, but honestly, it was 90% of the comments to do with that game. Apparently, rugby happened somewhere. And how's it, Hamish? Hope you're well, says Anthony. Game already on, says Gumby. It certainly is 1 minute into the contest. And the Australians have got themselves the early penalty to be able to kick towards the touchline. How's it, Hamish? Hope you're well, says Anthony. Hope you are doing well too. It's been a hectic few hours, but we're powering through. It's been a long season for the Southern Hemisphere teams. Now it's showing, says Umpalelo. Definitely for South Africa. They played 14 games this season, and they still have one more next week up against the Welsh. Now, the good news is they have been rotating their side, but they still, they'll be feeling it. I think in South Africa, the fun of rugby is to complain about refs, the weird ball stuff. As a side thing now, backline mover Max Jorgensen trying to sneak his way through. Hashtag cancel the ref now trending in Ireland, says Xander. And off to the right-hand side, Tane Edmed. Now it goes to Angus Bell. Gordon. Back across Ikitau. Looks like he's trying to grow out a bit of a mullet here at the moment. Ikitau almost a turnover in the breakdown for Gregory Aldred, but it's well picked up by Taniela Tupou. Now short side. Gordon sells the dummy. Can't quite sneak through. It's a good start to the match for the Australians. A lot of tempo and a lot of power being shown here by Len Ikitau. 2 metres out from the line and 2 metres from the sideline on the far side of the field to McWright. Dragged down short. Another penalty advantage in favour of the Australians. Taniela Tupou reaching out with that ball, but he is short just by half an inch. Close to the line. And it's a try for Australia. 2.5 minutes and Matt Faisler scores, and that is a statement at the start of this game from the Wallabies. As the first time Springboks win against the Irish, it is not. But it is the first time that they have won against Ireland in 13 years in Ireland. And Matt Faisler and France look like the All Blacks in disguise, says Stephen. And also we have got, there you go, you good thing. You have to be joking, says Cameron. I am not. The early try to the Australians. A little bit of poor discipline from France off the get-go has cost them the first try of this contest. And I mean, if both sides are going to play at the tempo we've just seen for the first 3 minutes, it's going to be the first of many tries throughout this match. Hamish is clearly delayed. We don't have to spoil scoring in the comments. Let him do it. Says Gumby there. You see Sky Sport now, she's been playing up a little bit at times, because it really is not keen to try and give me the live-ist option, but that kick has missed away to the side for Tane Edmed, keeping the score at 5 points to 0. Ref ruined Ireland versus South Africa. Very unfair towards Ireland. Says destroying dumb people. And also those Irish forwards will sleep in after that physical game. Says about. I think both sides will. You know, it's such a tough one when you go out there and, you know, grueling 80 minutes for that match. Still no Dupont. When will he be back? I think he's going to be back for the top 14 in about the next month or so. Matt Williams will have a lot to say after the Irish discipline, says Joe Mam. And it's going to be another penalty going the way of the French. I always find it interesting, the Matt Williams situation, because I talked about it a while ago. The only reason that man is famous is because people keep making him famous by talking about him. Like, the best way to stop his random comments that he makes is to just not mention them. But by giving him the fuel and giving him the views, you're keeping him with a job. You know, you're keeping him in business. He'll be making money off making comments about the sides. Well, thank you very much, Philip. Really appreciate it. That's about your second or third of the day, I believe. So, yeah, very much appreciated for your generosity. Julien Marchand, ready to throw this ball in for the French. They will be about 12 metres out from the goal line. Matt Williams will say anything, and people will listen to him. You know, even arguing him. Like it's said sometimes, no comment is a bad comment. It can be a bad comment, to be fair, though. But, like, you know, he would have been relevant in the rugby world a few good years ago had people just ignored him. But they didn't. They bit back at him. I don't even remember Matt Williams when he coached for Scotland. Says cited. And now, backline movement here, chance for the French. Looks like one of their players is down. I want to say that's Olivon in the number 7 jersey. He's just trying to get himself back on side. Go Australia, that will be an upset, says Dion in there as well. And I have a little bit of a fun fact, but it's not fun for France. If Australia were to win this game by 16 plus points, it would mean that France dropped to 7th in the world rankings and would have to play one of the top 6 in the first round, or at least one of the matches of their group stage in the Rugby World Cup. Australia, no matter what, they are in Group A. It's amazing how you switch your pronunciation of the players' names between games. Legendary, says Ruby there. And now Flamand with the chance round the side. Chaniela Tupou trying to get the steal, and he manages to get it there. Some would have thought he was off his feet, but not for big Taniela. Does get that massive penalty. I still got the teams up on your screen. That is the plan. It is a different layout for this live stream. I almost thought I wasn't going to have time to be able to put them up, mainly because of the small gap in between those two live streams. Must say, though, Matt did say Ireland needed to rest their stars before quarterfinals. No one listened then. Says Sock there. Aussie actually the better overall team tonight. France have the better back 3, but that's it. Says Gumby. And where is Tom Wright? He is still injured, unfortunately, from that Rugby Championship game. Or was it July? It might have been July, actually, that Tom Wright did get injured. So tell me, Hamish, what did you think of the previous match? I've never seen so many yellow cards and a red card. A well-deserved red card. Says Monet, yeah, it was definitely not a game that I think anyone who likes keeping their sanity will rewatch. Maybe once if you really have to, but it wasn't an all-time classic. You know, it's not one that you go back and watch 6 months down the line and go, yeah, that's what we wanted to see. Like, it was all right. South Africa were dominant. They won that game, but it didn't set the world on fire entertainment-wise, unfortunately. Which is a shame because it probably was one of the games, if not, it was probably the game this weekend that had the most eyes on it and probably had the most eyes leaving it as well. Now ball in the hands of the French. Going back across to the right-hand side. And it also took 2 hours, 10 minutes to get through that game. Flow no-go, says Ruan there. And your biscuit says Ruan in there as well. And we had 20 cards in the bot game. Can we get 30 cards in this one? I really hope not. That's going to be a turnover, though, for the Australians. 7.5 minutes already passing in this contest. Australia back in possession. Angus Bell goes across to Joseph Suali'i. There was a little bit of hesitancy there, but he now gets it on the outside to Edmed, who goes to Jorgensen. I'm definitely going to watch that game on fast forward, says Studs Rugby. More cards than a street magician can handle, says Cited. I want the Aussies to win. This is a South versus North game for me. I get the steal on the breakdown was the French number 8, Gregory Alred. Little chip in behind, bit of space, but it bounces steeply and goes straight into the hands of Charles Olivon. Now, he already had a little bit of an injury, and it looks like that has made it worse. It might have been a knee that he was having problems with. Louis Biarre. He's got options both ways. Goes on the inside to Portier, scores, and Les Bleus are on the board. And which half took the longest to finish? Believe it or not, I think it was second half. First half took around 57 minutes or something like that, someone said, or 63. If it was 63, it was the first half. But yeah, I think second half felt that little bit longer too, from the resets and whatnot. And France scored, says William. They certainly did. Oh, yeah, I've got there was a 2-hour card, a poker maybe game, says Vlad. And also for a second there, Aussie looked like a good deal. To be fair, they've still had a couple good moments, even though now, of course, that doesn't help. We had 20 cards in the bot game. Please no more cards. Last game was too much already. Yeah, I think that last game had enough cards for this match, as well as the games around the corner. We don't need any more cards tomorrow between Tonga and Scotland, but there will be, because Tonga love a physical shot. And then alongside that, I mean, England versus Argentina, we're bound to get 1 or 2, maybe 3. I can see the score on your screen before you usually, you call it. Usually it takes ages after you call the try. Yeah, last game it was a little bit slow, but this game it seems to be right up there, rearing to go. What's the historical context of South Africa winning Ireland? I mean, they won for the first time in 13 years. First time ever Rassie Erasmus has managed to get himself a win over the Irish in Ireland. And it also stops that little bit of dominance that Ireland were getting in the head-to-head. Ireland had won 4 of the last 5. Now it's 4 of the last 6. So South Africa going back in the right direction in that regard. Commentary is better than most TV commentators, says Chris. Thank you very much. The Box left 15, 20 points out on the field, but scored 2 great tries. Yeah, those 2 tries were the saving grace, I think. That Sasha fend off Jameson Gibson Park was a nice one. Oh, that's going to be another kick downfield from France. Sits up into the hands of Dylan Peach. Now finds Jorgensen. A lot of the players have the long sleeves on today. They are playing in 1 degree Celsius, so she's not very warm out there on the park. A bit more about this match and less about the last one. Says James. Yeah, I think everyone's in a chatty mood, aren't they? But that one's going to be kicked high. James. Oh, sorry, not James. That was Tane. See, now I'm saying James too often. Oh, that's going to be a penalty going the way of the Australians. Also, when there are stoppages, we're going to talk about whatever the chat is going to be mentioning, of course. And that is another stoppage, this time for Gregory Aldrit for obstruction. Gives Australia an opportunity to take on the 3 points if they want it. Australia just kicking aimlessly. How many tries were disallowed? Actually, none. One. Tyke Burns' try was disallowed. I think that was the only one, wasn't it? Right, Ahmed has a decision, and it looks like they have made it already, the Australians. They are kicking this one for the corner. 1 degree. Aussies don't know the meaning of it, says Glenn, although they will be getting slightly used to the colder weather, seeing as they're up north for these November internationals, although they are sitting 0 from 3, so obviously not enjoying it that much. We have got their lower on this live because we can't watch the current game. So here's Matthew, and there as well. Well, I do think we got quite a few ticked over or popped over just so that they could talk about that last one as well. And now ready to throw this one in, Matt Faisler. Ready to throw it in, and that's going to be a free kick going the way of the French. Australia closing the gap. Did you hear that what is in your head at the beginning of the game? Yeah, they did play it because it is an Irish song, even though South Africa have tried to claim it. Springboks and Irish favourites for the World Cup. Says Sheila. I think you got to throw England in there too, though. They're in some pretty good form at the moment. A lot of depth starting to build up. For Steve Borthwick in his side now. Jorgensen on the halfway line goes across to Dylan Peach. Getting wrestled backwards by Jean-Baptiste Grue. Now Mick Wright. Little short pass. Tane Nedmed. Tackle made by Pinot. As well as Julien Marchand. And the All Blacks. Says big breaking line from Harry Wilson. Manages to bust through. Finds the ball to Frost. But he knocks it on at the last moment. So it will be now the scrum going the way of the French. I've got their FFS, Australia, not good enough for the lineouts. Oh, we were seeing Rusty. Says play. Your stream keeps dropping, brother. You have a problem with your connection? No idea. I don't know whether or not it's on my end or maybe if it is on yours. I know that we had a little bit of glitchiness earlier on the stream, but at the moment for me it says Wi-Fi is all good and it is running smoothly. So whether or not that is the case, I am unsure. We have got their ABs will have to find answers quickly if they want to say in 2027. And we have got there the Springboks vs Ireland was a brutal match. The Irish defence was incredible, says Tame. And your stream is all good, says Dave. But now scrum feed. Due to take place for Maxime Luku. He comes into the starting lineup rather than someone like a Ligaric who has suffered an injury. I believe he was injured last week as well. 943 kg pack weight for the French compared to the 909 of the Australians. I hate to admit it, but England are dangerous at the moment, says Jerome. And Luke Pearce, great evasive moves there, says Studs Rays. Now Maxime Luku kicking this one downfield. Doesn't quite find the touchline, so now Max Jorgensen does kick this one high. Harry Potter looking to go aerial for it. Manages to knock it back, but France able to claim it afterwards. I think McDonald's closing up Wi-Fi. I hate to admit it. Oh no, that was the one about the French. Oh, sorry, about the English. Looks like Charles Olivon. He is down again here. He's actually been struggling big time at the moment throughout the early stages of this match. Took a nasty knock on the knee earlier, but it almost seems like it's something more structural for Charles Olivon, like something around the ribs maybe. that he is struggling with at the moment. He's trying to continue in this game, but he's not looking flash, but he doesn't want to go off either, so it's a tricky one to be able to deal with. The ball out the back, Matty Faisler going across now to the left-hand side. Oh, no, neck roll is the call. And out back line, Soali goes now to Harry Potter. Can't quite get through Maxime Luku. That's kind of magic. Says Sakabola there. That Bok 15-6 England final in 2007 was tasty. I'm selling red and yellow cards. Currently a Black Friday promo in Europe. Says placeholder. 15 minutes into the contest. Jake Gordon back across. That's a very late shot. And it is going to be the advantage as it was straight in front of Luke Pearce. France ill discipline at the moment. It's starting to hurt them here. That's about 5 in a row, or at least 5 since the start of this game that France have given away. French are playing poorly. And at the end of the tour, South Africa should go to Buckingham Palace. Says Stephen. And we have got there from Big Rig to Gumby. They're winning. Right, Charles Olivon is actually going to go off for a head knock. I'm sorry, but he has shown signs that he's not 100% for the last about 3 minutes, if not longer, probably 5 minutes in this game. So they're checking to see if it was the last contact in the breakdown. It wasn't. He has already been dealing with that. So the fact that his mouth guard didn't register, and also the fact that no one spotted the fact that he was down 3 times, surely someone thought maybe they should check on him. They are been to Buckingham Palace, says Big Rig. Bok's definitely worthy of the best team in the world. They got the Irish monkey off their back, which was bothering them. They've set the benchmark now, and the rest are chasing from a good few steps behind, says Vlad. And this English ref is good. Unlike the Welsh-born one we just saw, says the underdog pick. His head on head contact, immediate red. Not in that case. That one was just in the breakdown in the process, but he was already... He wasn't 100% from the last match. Yeah, I don't know what their plan was with Charles Olivon. I don't think he'll return out onto the field. Tane Edmed lining up the 3 points, misses. Away to the right-hand side, though. Going to keep the score sitting 7 points to 5 after the 16 minutes. Shoulder on head is immediate red. Not head on head, says Dave Morkel. I've been to the White House, says Sock. There you go. We have there really missing Noah's kicking man. Says Robert T. That is currently 0 from 2 for Tane Edmed over the kicking tee. And that is one part of Joe Schmidt's game that has been criticised heavily, is the amount of switches. Oh, that's a hard landing for Raman Intermac. He actually dove into that one and slammed his head on the ground. Big collision there in the middle of the field with Len Ikitau. That man's hair is growing at an outstanding rate. Where does the New Zealand Prime Minister reside? Either Auckland or Wellington, I think. I'm not actually too sure. But now Charles Olivon... in fact, Gregory Aldred this time, and he is actually down too with a little bit of an injury here. France are losing their loose forwards flat out, which is not what they would want. The French are really thin right now due to injuries pulling up, says Gumby. They've knocked a wing off it down now, says Big Rick. And hard tackles brutal, says Ruth. There's been some big shots already. Already 17 minutes through in this contest. Just to put this into perspective, this game kicked off 19 minutes ago, and we're already 17 and a half minutes through. So it is running much smoother than the last contest that we did witness. New Zealand, Wales had about a 45-minute first half, so that's the benchmark at the moment of trying to beat it. But I would say with these couple of injuries that the French are having to deal with, that will extend a little bit further than 45. France still injured mentally from playing the Box 2 weeks ago. Lol. Says Cited. But now ball's going to be fed in for Maxime Luku in the scrum. 45 metres out from the Australian line here, the French. Oh, and they give away a free kick. Early engagement on the far side. I think it was Matanga. As the guy Liner currently playing for Italy. Michael Liner's son. Related somehow. I think he is Michael Liner's son. And then his other son, Tom Liner, plays for Australia, if I'm correct. Unless it's a nephew, maybe. But I think it is both sons. I actually have Michael Liner's book I did find the other day. Don't really know what to do with it. Don't read much. We have got there, let's go Wallabies, says Ryan. And they went into the bot game injured. But okay, says Gumby. And also we get there, France never recovered from losing to Pont, says Big Rig. And why was Charles Olivon on the pitch anyway? He's not on the team sheet. That's a good question, actually. Because it was going to be Jojo, wasn't it? So I would say that Olivon was a late replacement. Although Jojo's there as well. I think that might be a typo. I think Olivon was actually supposed to be that number 7 in the match. And that says a cope. And also, who's got the try so far in this match? We've seen the one try for Deportier, and then the other try was scored early on from Matt Faisler. I hate reading books, says Xander. I love the idea of books, but I haven't been able to get into them yet. And I'm currently 25. Just joining good morning. Well, such a low score. Is this a French B-side? Tell me for yourself. That is the lineup right there on the screen. And I'd say it's one of the stronger that they can put out with their injury list that they've got at the moment. But now Australia going back across to the right-hand side. Harry Wilson. It's the ball up again for the Wallabies, but it's popped out on the side of Maxime Lucu. Does a very nice clearing kick downfield to the halfway line. Antoine Dupont is France's talisman. His magic isn't there. As pronounced Jiju or Jigu, says Gumby. Well, either way, he's not playing in this matchup. Not until later on, though, so we've got plenty of time to be able to get it right. You can use his book if you have a wobbly table, says Stephen. And I don't think I'd say this, but best game today was New Zealand-Wales. I think the best game were the ones that we didn't cover. Japan-Georgia was a great game by the sounds of it. So was Fiji-Spain in terms of closeness and going down to the wire. So it seems like it's the underdogs who are actually performing in this round of the November internationals. Line has 2 sons, one who plays, looks like Michael himself. Japan-Georgia was great. Says Big Rig, quick tap taken there by Gordon. Offloads it backwards, says the referee. He is right now, he came on for Olivon. So what you're saying is I have to work on the pronunciation. I can say this man's name. Angus Bell breaks through, and Australia score their second try to get into the lead. But that is quite the statement at the Stade de France for this Aussie side. I wish to give Australia any chance. Absolutely. They've scored 2 tries in this game. A prop just ran in for the try, says Angus Bell. And he is a prop who's got plenty of pace too. But Gordon with a wherewithal. That looked like a knock-on. But they did say it went backwards. Michael Liner back in the days when the Wallabies were actually good. And we have got need to get them kicks, says Ryan. But Angus Bell was great pace shown. Fabian is simply not a good selector, says Cameron. He's trying to get that ankle tap with Jean-Baptiste Gruber. All that did was actually block the run through of Maxime Lucu. And nice play, Aussie, oi, oi. Southern Brothers, says Brett. But 12 points to 7 now in favour of the Australians. I will mention it once again. If Australia won this game by 16 points, France would drop to 7th in the world rankings. And they would be outside of the first group for the Rugby World Cup draw. Very slow getting back up to the halfway line there was Roman Intermac. 1 second, we're going to go like this. Because if Australia were to win, even just win this game, they get plus 1.84, which puts the Australians in 7th and drops France to 6th. But if they win by more than the 16, then that drops France to 7th. And Argentina, I don't believe, can drop enough to be... Oh, no, that's a lie. Argentina could actually drop enough if they were to get dominated by the English. We haven't done Intermac. Yeah, I got a bandana on there. I think it might have been a cut for Intermac, but down by the halfway line. Nice take under the eyeball for Biel Biarray. Himself the assist for the first try of the match for Les Bleus. Now backline movement, moving across. So Alei making the early tackle, Intermac kicking downfield once more. Last chance. Saloon for Joe Schmidt. Last game for Aussie and Australia are running on fumes this autumn. They're currently sitting 0 from 3 at the moment, and they would love nothing more than to get that big win over the French at the end. There's a nice kick in behind from Ramos. That's going to be about 30 out. French are struggling with the Australia blitz defence, says Gumby. And that's the thing, like Australia have had 3 matches to realise what they've been doing wrong. And France, they've had a few matches to be able to do that as well. But I feel like Australia, like it's been mentioned, they come into this game with absolutely nothing to lose. Because they could be 0 from 4. And people would go, well, to be fair, the same ones who would go, that sucks that they're 0 from 4, are already going, it sucks that they're 0 from 3. So, anything better than losing by 20 points here is actually decent for Australia. And fantastic kick from Ramos, and that one's going to be stolen now for the French in the hands of Gelange. Just South Africa break France. Says, cool, not really, because they beat Fiji last week, and they could have easily lost that game to the Fijians. Off to the left-hand side, Jean-Baptiste Gros running it straight at Tom Hooper. The French in a good position on the field at the moment. Taniela Tupou looking in the breakdown, trying to get the steal. Gros a little bit slow. Get back up to his feet, Montagna. Now Luku goes off to Gregory Aldrit, who had Deportier on his side. I believe that Australia have to beat France by 16 to get into the top 6, and then France drop out of the top 6. It's all to play for here. That is exactly what I just said, yes. But Argentina can also drop outside of the top 6. Backline movement for France. And Thomas Ramos scores the try now to get them back into it. But yeah, Argentina, with where they sit, they can drop to 7th as well, and that would put France back up into that top 6. But if Argentina somehow beat England, that changes a lot too. France are scoring these two easily, says Robert T. And when you have some time, or rugby binge time, check out the 1976 South Africa versus New Zealand Test Series. Just see how much rugby has changed in 50 years. Lots of vids on YouTube. Says Ruby there. I believe that Australia, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Ramos is the bomb. Says Ruth. I can't see France losing here though. I'll be honest, if France lose, they're not losing by 16. That just seems like too much of a margin. This is threatening to turn into a good match, says Naranja there. Oh. Thought I just heard the TMO for a second. Los Pumas getting the W tomorrow, says Gumby. Yeah, that kick from Ramos is inaccurate. Goes away to the side. And that means that 26 minutes into this game, it is 12 points to 12 between these two sides. It's been a great first 25 of this matchup. And I'm still shocked how dirty Ireland played. But Rassi is kink, says Albert. And Ramos is the guy that's going to make the change for France. He is up to the challenge. I can see his body language is cited. What's he taken? My uncle was the hooker, Piston Van Wyk. And also we have got there, come on Aussie, says Lyndon there too. Now inside of that 22. France able to use this one. Kicking it high. It's gone relatively short of the kick. Sorry, I'm tipsy, says Albert. 0 degrees in Paris at the moment, says Stephen, and that's going to be a penalty going the way of Australia. Okay, Luke Pierce just warning here up against the French, who have given away 3 penalties in quick succession. Okay, and it's just been said very clearly, any more, and they're going to go to the bin. It is for another tackle off the ball. Actually, that's probably fair enough, because that's the second or third time that they have done a challenge like that. Amish says France can't lose by 16. TMO says hold my beer. Says power bite. We have got there, Evan Otis. People talk at length about Rassi and Razor, but the coaches of every other team are barely mentioned. Little bit. I think it also comes down to, like, if you're talking about just this channel, it's because that is where the main audiences of the channel are from. So you're more likely to talk about a coach that's coaching your own side than just a random one from another country. Because I think there's quite a few people who probably don't even know who half the other coaches around the world are. What do you think of the game between the Box and the Thugs in Ireland, says Albert? I mentioned about it earlier on. Not a game that I would rewatch more than once. You know, you're not going to go back to it in 3 years' time and go, that was an absolutely brilliant test match. But it happened. The Box, they did well. They'll probably be disappointed they couldn't score a few more points, but a win's a win, as I've been told many times. Anytime I mentioned that maybe they could have got a couple more points. So we'll go with that. The penalty there to France, only 5 metres out from their own line, getting in the breakdown. And the crucial steal. I don't think England can get to second with a win over the Argentines, says Dave. 1 second, I'll have a look. What do we got? So, we'll go here. England. Yeah, England can only gain 0.48 which means that they can pretty much go third max, and that is where they currently are. Now, if they were to lose to Argentina, they can actually drop to fourth, and that would put Ireland above them. And then if they lose by 16 to Argentina, they can actually drop to fifth, but a penalty there to France. And Ireland was robbed, says Cameron. Okay, missed timing at the line out, chopping in too early from the Aussies. And now Intermac is able to kick this one towards the sideline. And so Ali will turn it on. And then sucks all next year, says Sock. And kind of cool that it is so close, says a Big Rig. As in this game or the world rankings, Big Rig? Because I guess probably both, isn't it? Love your comments, Ruth. Smart and engaging, says Sarnell. And France are a great team, but have had quite a few losses this year. A loss here for France will be huge. I think they will be able to win, though. Says Linden. It's thrown in by Julio Marchand. Nicely taken to the back of the line out. Now France, quick hands from Deportier. And aside from South Africa, the world rankings top 6. Yeah, it is competitive. And the good news is there's still a little bit of movement that can happen even in the next little while. Now going on the outside, Louis Belbiaray, little chip, and he will step through some brilliance from a man who was nominated for Player of the Year. Didn't win it in the end, I did see. 0.48 is an insult for England, says George there. Yeah, but I guess it's because they're at home. That's the big difference maker, as well as the rankings in terms of where Argentina are compared to the English. But that is a great try for Louis Belbiaray. That was a cool try, says Albert there. Big driving tackle from Lena Cattell. By getting in behind Julio Marchand, and the quick hands from the French in their back line. Does the chip in behind and steps around Edmed as well. And Hamish, are you supporting France, Anzac Spirit, or true neutral here? Says Naranja. So I've mentioned I don't mind who wins this game, but if Australia are going to win it, I want them. No, actually, no. I said that I wanted France to win. Nothing against Australia. It's just for the world rankings. Because if Australia stay outside of the top 6, it means that we get an absolutely awesome match for the first contest of the Rugby World Cup, which will be Australia versus someone in the top 6. Whereas the other way around, we don't actually get that. So that was the only reason behind it. So, yeah, if they win, it would be ideal for the Aussies. But if they lose, then it also sets up for a better World Cup draw. Hamish wants Wallabies versus England to kick off the Rugby World Cup. That would be great. And skill was amazing with accurate pass and catch kick. And the ref was a complete joke in the Ireland game, says Cameron. And Ireland and France at Eden Park next year will be nice. Might actually get a French A side. Well, that one's going to be kicked into touch. Australia have got themselves the line out as they sit down by 7 at this point of the contest. Yeah, some brilliant skill from Belbiaray. Be able to chip that one in behind. Doing very nicely indeed. Now, ready to throw this one in. 40 metres out from the line. Now moving away to the left-hand side. Now, inside ball. It wasn't quite one that he was ready for, Harry Wilson, and there is going to be a scrum feed. The only way you will see a French A side in New Zealand is if the World Cup is there. I think Australia versus Chile is a blockbuster match everyone wants to see, says Stephen. I only think, or the only one I can think of is the box armless tackle should have been a yellow. I don't think you can blame the ref for Ireland's constant penalties, says Big Rig. And Ireland was never going to allow the box to look so good, or to look good, so it was ugly, says Albert. And too many knock-ons, man. Yeah, it's the one thing that's been slightly breaking this game down, although it was ruled as a deliberate knock-on from the French, so it actually means that the Australians have got themselves the penalty, but they're in two minds here because Tane Edmed hasn't been kicking that great. So you're in that scenario of you kind of have to start backing yourself to go for the tries instead. Italy is currently beating them 10-0. Oh yeah, that game was taking place, wasn't it? Because originally it was going to be Italy versus Samoa, but because of how long it was taking for Samoa to qualify for that Rugby World Cup. It actually meant that they had to switch that game around. How do you scrum 15 versus 13? Are you serious? Of course. The Box will win the scrum. It's an unfair advantage, says Cameron. And 3rd of December is when the draw is. Then we might have to wait a few extra days until the fixtures come out. It might not be England versus Australia to kick off the World Cup, says George. That is true. It could be Australia versus South Africa, Australia versus New Zealand, versus France, versus Ireland. But either way, with Australia sitting 7th, it actually means that if they've got any sort of brain cells about them, which actually, to be fair, it's World Rugby, so who knows. But, just like we saw France versus New Zealand, the opening contest of last World Cup. Like, that's the type of game you want to get people in the stadiums and also excited for what is to come. I'm watching the Chile game right now. They are not good. They haven't looked like scoring once, says Big Rig. Now going off to the left-hand side, Australia sitting 10 metres from the French try line. Ball's there, it's just gone back for Matt Faisler. Look at how 2-man tackle, and France are going to the bin here. And that is going to be Maxime Luku, who has to make his way off the field for the 10 minutes. Yes, they were scrummaging 15 versus 12, says Cameron. And Ireland were down to 12 points at one, or 12 players at one point. Yes, they were. And I know a yellow card's decided. Yeah, the trend from the weekend is continuing by the looks of it. Luke Pearce speaking French, which means I can't actually understand what he said. But I assume he said that's too many penalties down this end. So stop doing that. What a stupid penalty from Luku. Yeah, it's just one that wasn't really necessary for the French. In the breakdown, diving over the ruck and causing Australia to drop that ball. Chile have it under control. It's part of their plan for the World Cup 2027. And if New Zealand want to play France, well, are they insisting playing them first in the new championship a week after the top 14 final? Says James. Now rolling maul here. Australia only a couple metres out from the try line. Matt Faisler, again, might be able to move over the line. That has to be the try. Yes, it is. And it's another one for the Aussies in what has been a seesaw type of matchup between these two sides for the start of it. I read that one. And Wallabies need to capitalise, and they certainly just have. And woo, says Robert T there. Right, sounds like it's all fine for Luke Pearce. Or at least that's what I think he said. And Ireland lost by 11 points. So they can't complain if they only had 12 players at the same point. Or at some point, the box didn't fire. Says Ruby. Yeah, honestly, if you were to tell Ireland you're going to have 5 cards in a game and only lose by 11 up against the defending world champs, they'd probably go, that's not that bad. But I think there were definitely points left out there, actually for both sides throughout the 80 minutes. Very tight game, says Cited. Australia showing some fight. Now ready to strike this ball. And Taineme does get it over this time, making the score now 19-19. When you look at the head tackles in the Ireland box game and all the cards, how many went off for an HIA, Tommy O'Brien, but who else? That really says it all, says Vlad. And France doesn't respect international rugby window, says Studs Rugby, and France need to take international rugby serious, send their best teams week in, week out. But the thing, they won't though. Because the top 14 in France is bigger than international rugby. There's so much money tied up in the contracts of the players. It's good that they're going to have their strongest side, hopefully, for that World Cup. But outside of that, teams aren't going to release their players. It's not France that doesn't respect it. It's the fact that they have financial obligations to the professional league. Exactly. Top 14 is the big one in France. Maybe France should structure their domestic season differently. International rugby is so much better than domestic rugby, in my opinion. They play way too many games in France, says Lyndon. Let's go Australia, says Michael Webber. Well, this one's going to be kicked downfield. And money wins, sadly, says Big Rick. And time may the best team win, says Talent. Yeah, currently 19-90 with 2 minutes remaining at this stage. Oh, line out here for the French, though, just before the end. And then France should withdraw from the international rugby schedule. Says Studs Race. They probably would if they were allowed to. I don't know what the behind-the-scenes stuff is, but honestly, that team that they sent to New Zealand, They just decided they'd use it as a time to develop young players. And honestly, it was probably exactly what some of those young guys needed. But yeah, I think it's also the expectation that you're going to be playing France's best should not be expected. No, actually, World Rugby should actually take charge and have a relegated schedule between international and professional, says Gumby. And how come the teams are not are still showing on the screen? Because it's a different layout. The scoreboard also below me rather than off to the side. And that's going to be a well done from the Australians, tying it up in the breakdown. Now Australia, they have got themselves the scrum feed. This feels like the Wales-New Zealand match, where you had plenty of tries, says George. And that's why France don't win anything. Too much club rugby, says Cooper. I mean, they won the Six Nations. We have got there in France. We do what we want, even if it's BS, says Chris Ace. And the Champions Cup is still the toughest competition than the French top 14, says Molly Lagrange. This has probably only become more common with the new regulations on how much rugby players can play between international and per club. Yeah. There are regulated international windows, says Studs Race. I feel sorry for Ireland. They were the best on the field, says Magnus. I mean, they certainly weren't the best at scrum time. But, it's weird to say because South Africa won. But Ireland seemed like they wanted the win more, if that makes sense. They just couldn't do it because they couldn't get through. That's South African defence. But they seem to have that little bit of extra fire. And I don't know whether or not that was because of the fact that they were in front of their home crowd, which I think the crowd actually really did help them stay in that game. I was not expecting the score, says Jean. Yeah, currently very close between these two sides. South Africa deserved the win. They absolutely did. There's no denying that if you win a total of, 18, 19 penalties in your favour, you should be somewhere near the right side of the scoreboard, and that one's going to be kicked into touch. Half-time in this contest, 19-19. That game absolutely has been flying by for that first half. That took 42 minutes to play the half. Just in comparison, that last game, there was a 56-minute half, and also the whole game itself took 2 hours and about 10 or 12 minutes. What a match. What a ref. This is rugby after the mess. South Africa versus Ireland versus the ref, says Renchart there. But there's no relegations in play or regulations in place for the professional competition, says Gumby. True or false? Most of the New Zealanders want Australia to lose, says Tahuaroa. For different reasons, I would say. See, I want Australia to lose in this game, not because I have anything against Australia, but because I want a great opening contest of the Rugby World Cup. And the draw is taking place very soon, so if Australia are 7th, they will have to play someone in the top 6. Whereas if they win this game, it actually changes things a little bit. Australia, if they were victorious in this match up against the French, they would be in 6th in the overall world rankings, unless Argentina also beat England. That is the only way that we can see Australia stay outside of the top 6 even with a victory, which is possible. And at the end of the day, that would still mean that we get the same result. So, you know what? If Australia win this game, if they win it, then Argentina sadly can't win up against England, because or else then that ruins the World Cup draw. And they're doing it early enough anyway, so we've got to have some sort of excitement heading into those games, of course. We want Australia to win. Stand behind Australia, they can do it, says Magnus there. And French Club Rugby can do what it wants. The FFR shouldn't be allowed by World Rugby to pick and choose how they show up, says Studs Race. We have got there, that's when we see Dupont is missing, and our game quality and organisation, says Chris Ace. And Ireland tactics were only to prevent Box from getting 50. Well, they did a very good job. They only got 24 points in the end of the box, up against 12 men at times in that game. But I think that the Box tactics as well were stopping themselves from scoring. You know, how many times have we seen the Springboks take a quick tap off winning a penalty and then score straight away? They probably have multiple chances to do that, but every single time they said, no, we want to scrummage again because we want to try and get them down to 11 players on the field, or get them with no props remaining and make a real statement. So I don't know whether or not you call it was the tactics of the Springboks, or whether it was just that kind of ego to try and really say, look, Ireland, we're absolutely pummeling you and there's nothing you can do about it. It was probably a little bit of that, wanting to assert that dominance over them. Yes, they should. But then they choose, or how they choose their team is their prerogative, says Gumby. Yeah, I guess any international side theoretically could send a B team anywhere, can't they? If they really wanted to. But it's normally, yeah, it depends on who the team is, of course. Australia sent what would be regarded as a B team to that Rugby World Cup because they left out some of their experienced heads that would have helped them. I'm getting worried about Kobus' handling errors. Now we have there by that logic, teams shouldn't throw in their B-side players against weaker teams like Wales or Italy, says Gumby, and Kobus has already been a loose cannon. I can't wait for next week's sevens to start. Now that will be entertaining. Yeah, but then they've cut down on the teams in the sevens as well, which is a little bit of a shame. But fumbled in Ireland 22 as well. They let themselves down, says Cited. The Island with 13 men on field. But the box can't overcome them, says Magnus. Yes, host nation automatically qualifies. Yeah, so they will automatically be in Pool A. But with their automatic qualification in Pool A, it means that someone in that top 6 would also join them in that group. So Australia don't automatically end up in Group A. They do. But if they come in as a 7th ranked side, that means that they're a part of the second go-around rather than the first. So the top 6 all have the chance of getting into Pool A. And then from there, it will be Australia guaranteed Pool A. And the rest of those sides between 6 to 12 then jockey it out for the other ones off the random. Are you going live tomorrow? We are. We are going to be live for that Scotland versus Tonga match, as well as the game between England and also Argentina. So 2 great games still taking place tomorrow. We're going to be covering both of them on the channel as well. I thought so, yes, on Pool A Cited. And also we have got, Kobus has done so many knock-ons this season, says Ako. Yeah. His hands have let him down a bit. But the crazy thing is, he's still doing very well. You know, even with those knock-ons. Fair point, personally, I dislike the development squads. Extreme rotation, but agree it's impossible to police, says Studs Rugby. And also, I imagine if Tonga beat Scotland, it would be huge for them. We'll have a look at the world rankings. Tonga, even just getting themselves a win, would move up 2 points. And if that was the case, Tonga would find themselves up 4 spots in the world rankings. Samoa would drop down 2. Chile, depending on what happens in their game up against the Italians, well, Italy can't actually gain any points from that match. Tonga could find themselves in 15th in the world rankings, as there's so many sides around that 65 to 70 mark at the moment. I can't see Tonga coming close to Scotland, unfortunately. Yeah, it would be a very tough game. Because we've got to remember, Tonga also haven't played any rugby. This will be their first November international game. So, yeah, it's that tricky part, isn't it? And all the other teams are worried about the Rugby World Cup draw. The Box are worried about the after-party media coverage when they win, says Ruby. And halftime came fast. Halftime came fast time. Gods hate this game, says Sock. Yeah, it was a 42-minute first half. 42. And there was one thing that got checked throughout that half. So, 42 minutes. It's just shown that it is doable to get a game smoothly done. And it's probably going to be a very slow halftime break. They'll probably add a few extra minutes because of how quickly they got that first half done. But that's all right. We don't mind that. Really? The Box can barely beat a 12-man island. And did I hit a nerve? Oh, you mean the Saudis? Says Gumby. FIFA doesn't need to be organised. They just have to share some dollars with people that matter. Yeah. See, I normally go as far as the rugby, and then that's where my knowledge of things stop. Like, when it gets to the behind-the-scenes negotiations and all that stuff, I have no idea. TMO just chilling the whole first half. Says Big Rig, yeah, he's getting paid to do nothing. And it's bloody great. You know, when you're working and no one's coming in the shop and you're just sitting there, you're going, this is too easy. I can just chill out. I can sit, listen to some music. The shelves are stocked. The things are being put away. The meat's being chopped up. I'm trying to include a lot of jobs so that it's relatable. The curtains are pulled. You work at a theatre or something, I don't know. But that's what it feels like at the moment for the TMO. He just chilling. He happy. He happy to be there. How many time do you see boxers being taken out of the ring for an HIA? Says Vlad. Not as many as they should be, but we also see, sadly, a lot of boxers with brain damage because they don't get taken out of the ring. We've got there, that's it, TMO has been kidnapped, says Sook. And but the Irish definitely spoiled a lot. There are heaps of bad blood between the Box and the Irish, says at Cobe. And I wonder how the pay works. The Samoa, for example, got 3 more games out of the qualification right out. So did they get 3 more paydays? I'd like to think so. They also got 3 more opportunities. Like, I look at Samoa qualifying for the World Cup in the way that they did. It's a blessing and a curse. Where did the other half of my pen go? It's just snapped off. Oh, here it is. But yeah, I think that them getting to play 3 extra matches is actually a big bonus for Samoa. Yes, they almost blew their opportunity to be in a World Cup, but you know, they played 3 more games than they ever would have. They would have just played Italy in those international matches. I still need to check that first half of the ABs. How Love Go Hamish promising? Promising enough, I would say. Had a couple shaky moments, but I think most of the All Blacks did. High balls were an interesting part of the game. Had to scrub my peanuts. Is Aussie playing well? Says Sandor. They've been going better in this game than I think a lot of people expected. As a Samoan fan, we wouldn't have made it if it weren't an expanded version, says Dexter. Yeah, although I feel like they would have tried a bit harder a bit earlier if that was the case. I love watching your stream about France and Australia and having it completely dominated by Bok talk, says Gumby. Yeah, well, it's currently half time, so it's normally in the break, but it's always going to happen, unfortunately, because of the fact that, you know, there are so many people from those 2 streams. Like, we have 5,000 watching the South African stream, and I think it was over 1,000 watching the New Zealand one. So, like, that's quite a few people to be funneling out throughout the next couple streams. And we have got the South Africa easily the best team at the moment, says Lyndon. Well, there you go. And come on, the Aussies. Great for them if they win. And another kick up the backside for the French, says Porter. Did Samoa have access to all players for early games? Not for the Pacific Championship or Pacific Nations Cup. They actually, well, they kind of did, but they didn't, if that makes sense. Like, some of the NPC guys said, I don't want to play international. I want to play in the NPC and get paid more. Mr. Pont playing. He is probably the most gifted sevens player the Box ever produced. I see a Sandor. He is not playing. Hopefully he'll be back soon, though. I saw him give us a thumbs up. Don't know if he gave the fingers. I think you could be a rugby stand-up comedian, Hamish. Seriously, you're witty and fast on your feet. Says Ruby. I think I just get lucky sometimes. Like, honestly, stand up, like, put me on a stage and I would absolutely bomb. Because the benefit is I can't see you guys, but if someone was looking at me at the moment, like, which you are, but I can't see you looking at me. So that's good for me. And I can kind of talk without having my brain blow up. We have good there. So Belgium is out. No more chances. Sadly not. Belgium have missed out on that next stage. Still super annoying. There's some of us who don't give a toss about South Africa, says Gumby. But, you know, I guess it all comes back into those world rankings. In terms of the Rugby World Cup draw, it is taking place only about 10 days away. So, you know, based on the rankings, everyone's all excited about who's going to be playing who and where everyone's going to be finishing. And there has been a really good reshuffle throughout the November International. Sadly, Belgium was out. Yeah, they played a brilliant game up against the Samoans, but they needed one more try, one more conversion or something like that. All that Belgian hard work. They'll have no games in 2027, which is a shame because they also miss out on that tournament next year involving the 12 sides inside of that World Cup. You know, we're going to get to see Samoa versus Tonga, or at least Samoa, Tonga, Georgia, Portugal. Those sides are all playing each other. If you want to see me, Hamish, look outside your window. Which window? I have a lot of them. And World Cup 2027 should be called Operation Stop the Box, getting 3 in a row, says Naranja. And I think you should be Sky's next commentator. Most of us do. Describe the action better than those on TV, says Bowbite92. Thank you very much. I think I talk a whole heap of rubbish, though. I go off in random directions. We were talking about burgers last week. We haven't really talked about food too much today, but that's normally the Monday morning live streams New Zealand time, so those are saved for tomorrow. And France hasn't beaten us at home since 2005. We've lifted Bill up for a drink twice at their home. And we have got the South African streams gave so many more, says Echo. Called to Hamish. You thought Ireland couldn't pull it out. in the 50th minute. Well, it just seemed, it's easy to say when they're 3 men down that they're not going to win a game. Like that's just common knowledge, isn't it? But they got closer than I thought they would. We had Māori Monday for the Lost Pumas game, says Tahua Roa. And we talked about otter stones. That's about the only non-rugby thing that came up. Yeah, it was quite interesting about the otters. I used to enjoy watching otters, or was it meerkats? It was one of them. They used to run across with a stick. Not here, when I was on holiday. I could see this being an alternative commentary on Sky with your interactions with commentators, or with commenters, sorry. I was actually very sad last year. Not for the streams or anything, I should clarify. There was that Super Rugby Pacific season starter where on the All Blacks YouTube channel, they actually did like a watch-along stream for that game. And they had, I think it was a Samoan comedian and an ex-player. And I thought, oh, okay, they're going to do that each and every game. They did it once, and that was it. So I don't know whether or not it didn't drive the attention that they had hoped that it would or what the goal was, but they literally just did it once. And I thought that's a missed opportunity because, don't get me wrong, I talk about random things. But if they were like, hey, do you want to come on and every once in a while we'll give you a guest to be able to talk to and you can just chat away, like I'd be like, yep, absolutely. I just talk a whole heap of randomness. And Tamak hasn't been the same after his knee surgery. Jalibert should be slotting in at 10 with Intermac coming off the bench, says Gumby. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one. Some guys after those serious injuries just don't quite come back the way that you want them to. And it's ironic to say, but sometimes it's the next injury that they get that when they come back, they're actually better than ever. Or at least better than they were for the injury prior. Sometimes it's just about finding that confidence in your own body again for these guys. Like, if you feel like your knee's kind of given out, then you're going to be hesitant to really push it. And we have got there, that makes you a comedian. You are halfway there, says Ruby Tuesday. And the injury's sad. And Hamish, that's the whole point, Grant Nisbet, Keith Quinn. When do they last have to deal with the chat? Go to Sky. They will train you, and all you have to do is describe the action, says Power Bite. And I'll put you in 2 cents on the TV over the pundits all day. You should do a stream with Wildcard, Rugby channel from Aussie. You should look him up. I have heard of Wildcard. He is quite the animated character from what I have experienced. And they're just not as explosive as he was, says Gumby. Yeah, and it's tough. Like, knees are one of those ones that don't work sometimes. Ankles are a little bit the same. As soon as a guy receives that high ankle injury, that's just, normally you go through that patch of just struggling. Same with an Achilles, pretty much anything in the leg. But now rolling ball. Second half is underway, ladies and gentlemen, in this contest. A comedian with the receipts and facts. Trying not to lose my voice. Another penalty. This time going the way of France. We have got the yellow card for another 4 minutes. Dan Hooker got smoked. Was that in the weigh-ins or in the actual fight? I saw that there was a flying headbutt coming in during the pre-match. Would have been a red card in rugby. So that must have been in... Was it a Saudi Arabia card? Whereabouts was it, if it's already taken place? The MMA guys take a 9 or 8 month break to recover from head knocks. Says cited. We have good there. Hamish, do you know Mark, the Kiwi guy in Mexico? You should two should have a chat. We have had a chat. We've actually had a chat on my channel. There's a video. And a video on his as well. I laughed at something Hamish said once. Well, that's good. Do you remember what it was? Or was it just a passing, caught you at a weak moment? Now, back line here for the French as they move up towards the halfway line. It's one of those games that could go easily either way. Okay, I missed that, says Vlad. In an actual fight, Armin subbed him in round 2 arm triangle in Qatar. And that's a penalty now going the way of Australia. Fraser McWright locking himself over the ball. Yeah, see, I thought that fight card was happening in like an hour or two. Thoughts on Welsh rugby? Not in as bad of a position as people want to make them out to be. I think that there's potential there. They've got young players coming up through the rankings. They'll be more than happy with how they played on the match up against the ABs. Scoring 4 times up against the Kiwis is something that some sides in the top 5 struggle to do. You went with 2 cents as well, hey Hamish. We have indeed. We did that debate a while ago What about Egg Chasers Hamish? He's a good dude. Says, lad, I haven't done anything with him yet. But that is one that hopefully one day down the line we will be able to do something. That didn't look very straight from the Australians, and it is going to be a scrum feed now for the French. And hope it's over. Rest of the fights are worth a rewatch. Says Lumi there. And thoughts on the Wallabies Rugby Union, says Ryan. They're in a tricky position as well. But I also do think they're going slightly in the right direction. Which sounds crazy to say, but I think what happens next after Joe Schmidt leaves is very much crucial for their Rugby World Cup home competition in 2027. We have there, you should do something with Squidge Rugby, missed a trick with New Zealand just playing Wales. It's a little bit trickier to do things with the bigger channels, I do find. Like anyone who's a slightly smaller channel, normally if you reply, they're pretty happy to chuck you one back straight away. But yeah, some of those bigger guys, they are big for a reason, and that's because they're very busy. So, you know, it gets tricky trying to get everyone scheduling. That's going to be the penalty going the way of the French, or in fact, no, sorry, free kick here rather than penalty. And we have got there, missed the end of Wales versus New Zealand. Final score, please, someone. Says Bruce, so end score in that contest was 52-26 in favour of New Zealand. That one's going to be kicked into touch. Again, France have got themselves the line-out chance from around that halfway line. It's just the 30 minutes remaining. Or in fact, no, sorry, it is actually the Australians who have got themselves that scrum feed. Claimed by Gordon, goes across to Tane Edmed. Now skip past Iketel, tries the no-look pass. Goes to Suali'i just beside him. Now Edmed, Alalatoa, Jorgensen finds a little bit of space to work with. He tried to flick pass on the inside, but it doesn't find the hands of Dylan Peach. Thanks, Amy, says Bruce. That is going to be now another scrum, and Maxime Luku gets to return out there on the field. WWE low, I told you I'm cooked, says Ruby. You may be cooked, but you got all the cool young lingo. That, what did I say? A sitch earlier on for situation. Didn't mean to, but it was the hippest that I've sounded in about 10 years. Until I called myself out for not being hip, and then it didn't sound hip. Didn't think I would ever agree with Gumby. Up in Squidge, he showed his true colours after the Italy game. He was trying to pander to World Rugby, says Christopher. And I do think that Franco Mostert one was one that certainly split the world of rugby YouTubers, it seemed. But at the end of the day, like, as long as you can have a conversation with them about some form of rugby, I feel like that's all right. Like, that's where I feel so bad for Thick at the moment. We do that Springbok lineup prediction each week, and he just gets brutalised in the comments each and every time. So he's actually got to the point how he messaged me saying he thinks that maybe he shouldn't be on because he's worried it's going to impact, like, my channel. But I just feel bad because, like, we'll chat rugby for a couple hours and then forget that we're supposed to be doing a recording. But people just don't seem to like him when he talks about South Africa, even though he is a South African. Now, Louis Belbiare, another penalty. There's a lot of those in the second half. Well, good morning. Wallabies hanging in there, says John. And AB's had poor defence today. Wales took their chances. Wales defended well for a lot of the game, considering how much the All Blacks dominated, says Lyndon. Yeah, I said it during that game. I said that Wales defended as good as a side that I have seen that has missed 40 tackles. So, like, you know, they missed a lot of basic ones, but they made a lot of good ones too. A hater's going to hate, says Big Rig. And also we have got there, I can't wait for the chat thread when you cover the Ashes. It's going to be wild for days, says Ruby. Looks like Thomas Ramos ready to line up this kick. Any subs? The only change that we have seen made so far was Jegu in the earlier stages of the match. And I want to say everyone else is still looking like their starting lineups. And that one has gone over. It's going to make the score now 22 points to 19. Pretty cool stadium, to be honest. Yeah, the Stade de France is a pretty awesome one. The light shows that they had before the games did in England collapsed in the Ashes. Yeah, so they collapsed, then Australia collapsed, then England collapsed again, and then Travis Head did what Travis Head does best and ruined the hopes of another side. Oh, it's an ugly collision in the air. Both sides at the moment on the full 15 on the field. Now Julian Moschon wanted to go quickly. It's going to be scrummed down Australia's ball. I didn't like that comment from the Australian commentators. They pretty much said that eventually Luke Pearce got to the right decision in terms of this one. Because that ball did go backwards, but it was an accidental. Yeah, so Galfiku played the ball on the ground for accidental offside. Ball just ended up going straight between his legs. Luke Pearce is a top-tier ref. Says Gumby. And shout out to my mate Kirsten and Jardy. Hopefully I've said that correctly. So it is just going to be a penalty now in favour of the Australians. Oh, okay, no, it's actually going to be a penalty to France. So what's happened there is Joseph Suali'i's gone up for the high ball. He has come up a little bit short and has played the French player in the air. That one's going to be kicked into touch. Aussie commentator's not happy with that. Watch the Aussies the last 20 minutes. Says Ruby Tuesday. And should France gather, or rather have gone for the line out. I'm so tired of these debates with the ref. Made a call, get back 10 metres. Yeah, it's got to the stage how, back in the old school days, if you disagreed with the ref, you just got on with the game. And it's one of those ones that the players almost, I don't know, I'm going to get myself in trouble with something I say here. I'm going to say, do I say it? The players nowadays, because they get paid so much money, feel like they are better than the referees and that they know more than the referees. So, there's more arguments that take place than the old days. Old days you used to say, right, referee, final judgment, respect the ref, we'll go back. Nowadays, everyone's too friendly with the referees. They go, hey, I know you by your first name, so, help me out here. But I say was grunting so weird I'm getting up. That's something that you didn't have to type, dear me boy. But that one's going to go into touch. It's playing the ref. So basically football, says Big Rig. And I like the ref penalising poor sportsmanship in the Irish game. That's what sets rugby apart, says Naranja. And it was actually quite good throughout that Women's World Cup too. They actually did end up really hunkering down on anyone who disagreed with a referee. They said, nah, it's not your call to make. However, their refs need to walk teams back 10 more often for the back chat. Refs should call players by their number. See, that's something that in the NRL I'm not too sure about. When they call them by their first name and it's like, okay, no, these guys are they're probably pretty friendly. Here we go, mate, just getting over the Wales game. Says, pleasure, welcome in. Hope you're doing all right. Wales played all right in that game, though, but France around the halfway line at the moment. Thomas Ramos, he goes through a gap, and he's not trying to link up. He just wanted to run it himself. Now finds the offload to Pinot. BRA, all three of those men, 11, 14, and 15, getting themselves a touch of the ball there, and the penalty goes the way of France. Now, quick tap taken by Maxime Luku, taking a little bit of a risk, but wanting to get his team on the front foot. But they have to score now, or else you'd argue that they should have just taken the nice, easy 3. Back across. Can't tell you how many times we would get brought back 10, given the ref back talk while I was still playing, says Gumby. But you would have probably stopped, wouldn't you? You would have, after a while, gone, okay, it's not working. Because at the end of the day, a ref's very, very rarely going to change his decision. Now going off to the left-hand side, Damien Pinot, Ramos, Bielbia Reyes, the Portier who goes in. And he gets another double. I swear he scored 2 up against Fiji last week. I'm not blaming any of the refs. Well, rugby has created this current situation with unnecessary rule protocol changes. And score France is cited there. Portier scores another try for the French, and that now gives them the 8-point lead in this contest. And South African and ABs actually stand together. They have a really good relationship with each other, says Demi. They seem to at times. I think, like, going to the games, that seems to be when you meet, like, some very great people. Like, that seems to be the story anyway. But, like, social media-wise, it's a tricky one to juggle. Stopped after getting walked back once. That's all the incentive we needed to shut up. Yeah, 10 metres is a lot in a game of rugby. You know, definitely if you've given away a penalty on your 22, all of a sudden you give them a very good shot at the post. Or even just running it in. But Ramos hooks it away to the left-hand side, so the score between these two sides will remain as 8 points separating them, 27 points to 19. Yeah, the yellow card blew that game out at the end, but I wasn't too upset at the end of the game, says Fleshen. Yeah, like, honestly, Tom Rogers. We were trying to work out when the last time was that someone from Wales scored a hat-trick up against the All Blacks, and it was way back in about 1974 with JPR Williams, I believe it was who was mentioned. It's easy to talk on a keyboard, not so easy to talk to a face of a 6'4" brick. Now, yeah. See, I struggle to, like, I'm not much of a trash talker in general. So, like, when I finally try and talk trash, it normally doesn't sound right. But we give it a go every once in a while. Like, the ones earlier on, I did enjoy the ones who were going at the teeth. Like, that was, collision at the back there. Nicely taken by Jorgensen. Because I prefer that than just, like, show the game. You know, I'd rather, it sounds weird to say, but I'd rather have someone insult me than just be like, show the game. Why aren't you showing the game? Like, at least it adds a little bit of commentary. My apologies. Nice kick downfield from France. Getting distracted. 26 minutes remaining on the contest. And it is going to be a line-out throw for the Australians. 39 metres. Oh, in fact, 41 metres, in fact, out from their goal line. Rob Valentini looks like he is just about to make his way onto the field here. And we have good there, Chile pushing Italy. Says Naranja. And thanks, says Sipasiso. But yeah, I keep on getting distracted, which is easy to do, seeing as we've been awake since yesterday. And Hammy has talked so much trash that Lara had to make ads on cruelty in cricket. Says Sock there, but that one's going to be misthrown by Australia, not a straight one. Claimed by Julio Marchand. Off to the right-hand side, big collision. Flamand trying to go right over the top of his opposite number. It's a great attacking chance for the French again, and as we're starting to see a bit of a momentum shift. In the last maybe 5 minutes or so, Australia have started losing their tempo, although they've got that ball back. Max Jorgensen flying down the wing, and tell you what, he's going to have to grubber this. He may just win the foot race. Yes, he does. What a try. That is for Max Jorgensen. That's a good old classic case of the commentator's curse right there, as Australia now get back into it. It may sound odd, but that young Welsh team might have come out of that game just about okay. Yeah, I think they did all right, Wales, in that one. Look at the shiny geese, Hamish. Right here, bro. Jingle, jingle. And commentator's curse says big rig, but yeah, great run down the wing from Max Jorgensen and just at the pace. Now, Damien Pinot led with his feet there. So, like, that's a little bit dodgy inside of the in-goal area, trying to kick that ball away. So, I don't know what would have happened had he actually collided more with Max Jorgensen. His game's on a knife edge. And also, Jorgo is so good, says Gumby, and very nice try. Says Brett there too, but now lining up this kick for the Australians. It is anyone's contest. What happened to Carter Gordon? He's making his way off the bench. I thought he was making his way off the bench in this game, but I could be wrong. In fact, I am wrong. I think originally it was actually going to be Tane Edmed off the bench, wasn't it? Maybe a late switch for the Aussies from the original lineup that I did see, but that is nicely done, and the kick has gone over too. His best game of the weekend, absolutely. Although it didn't have to try very hard. Although there are a couple games, I will mention best game that we have covered of the weekend. Japan versus Georgia was a pretty solid game. Fiji versus Spain, by the looks of it, was very entertaining too. Looks like Angus Bell is going to make his way off. This game is more exciting than a night with the Virgin Mirror. Says Sok, and great commentary man says Subsiso. Has Pierce the best ref in the business. For me, he's right up there. But it's a tough world being a referee. You know, like, you have one bad game and people hold it against you your whole career. And it's not like a player how you can go back out and as soon as you have a good game, people forgive. People don't forgive a referee, unfortunately. So, like, there's really no way to be a referee and be heavily, like, respected by multiple countries. It's just a massive shame because, like, it's one of the hardest jobs out there. She's a liar. I don't even touch you. See you, Sandor. What are you talking about, mate? And we have got the England versus Argentina. It's hopefully going to be a banger. I hope so too. But Maxime Luku around the halfway line here for the French. Hard job, says Big Rig. Thankless job as well. You don't often see referees getting thanked for having a good game. And now Biarri. Oh, that might be a steal in the breakdown. No, penalty does go the way of the French. What do you use to stay awake? Hamish? Pure adrenaline. And cocaine. No. I don't know. I think I'm that used to staying up for long hours through editing during the week and also just on the weekends with live streams in the Northern Hemisphere there. I just kind of have gotten used to staying up for a long time. So, water and every once in a while a piece of toast. Excitement from rugby, or excitement for rugby. Says Big Rig, now nicely claimed by France, sitting 25 metres out from the line. Drop ball from Maxime Luku. That is a forward pass from the French as well. It means that it will now be the scrum feed for Australia. Someone say Coke. I take it with sugar, please. Says 7-Up. Or Red 7, I should say. If you love a sport, you need to leave the ref alone. Refs get so much abuse that it's sad and embarrassing for all. Says Signal. Hamish doesn't do Coke. When he played, I was known for having a nose for the white line. I was like 9 when I played though, so that's quite a sad story. Pants reveal when. I haven't got pants on today. I got shorts. So I don't think I could reveal them without showing too much because they're not actually that long. I can see like 90% of my leg at the moment. Well, maybe not 90, but you know, it's far too much for a YouTube stream. However, they're well Australia on their day. They can be still all right. Their comeback win over the Springboks was amazing, says Lyndon. Now another scrum reset here. Australia have got themselves the feed. Universally admired referee. I don't think there is one at the moment in rugby. Ben O'Keefe has got closer to it in terms of he's got about 3 or 4 countries that don't mind him. But, like, other than that, it's pretty tough to go any more than that. Damn, only fans on the side. Everybody doing it confused, says Sandor. Now going off to the left. Jake Gordon. Now onto the hands of Len Ikatel. Ruth will get excited again. What'd she call me earlier? I can't even remember what it was. The second part was hot, but I can't remember the first part. Was it frisky? Hamish was has a mid bid, says Ruby. And now going off to the left-hand side for the Aussies. Gordon getting ready to shape up for the box kick. We're already into the last quarter. I was wondering, did someone just ask if you have pants on? They did. And I had to answer no, because I got shorts instead. To the halfway line. I see taken. Backward slap there from the Aussie. So they'll manage to take the possession back. Fraser McWright trying to shovel off to Portier. That was almost a tip tackle. And it's going to be the penalty going the way of the French. I love you, but please give me sports casting. Describe the game, not the chat. My apologies, Lynette. We will do a little bit more of it. It is the last 20 minutes of this game. It's been a little bit stop-start in the second half. We've had a few more penalties, which have given us a couple little gaps in between. Looks like Charles Olivon is rocking a really bad shiner above that eye at this point in time. But France, after winning the penalty, they will be able to go and put this ball into touch. Ironically, I love you, but is something I've heard quite a bit. I'm still single. Sadly, because of that exact statement. I'm still single. Oh, I'm sorry, I almost said it twice, but I love you, but I'm pregnant with another man's child. There you go. That was a fun one a few years ago. Now, ready for the line out. Julien Marchand throwing this ball in, nicely taken by Jegu. Currently 19 minutes remaining. 1 point separating these two sides. A said Roof wanted to ruck, says Sandor. But now, rolling forward, Maxime Luku going off to the right-hand side. It's going to be shut down, but again, another penalty going the way of France. I feel like they're on the verge of getting Australia a yellow card here, if they're not too careful. And yeah, and that the tall UFC ref, Herb Dean. Herb Dean, he also every once in a while leaves it a bit long though. I think a lot of people like, who's the bloke with the big long mustache? I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's bald. He used to have the mustache that went down to like his chest. Can't think of him. Mike Beltran, that's the one. People like him. And deaf, says Cameron there. And Australia watch. But now ready to throw it in. That's rough Hamish, says Alumi. It was an interesting Halloween, that's for sure. That's going to be an advantage and early engagement from the Australians. It was live on the channel at the time, fun fact. That's probably not a fun fact. Another penalty. Australia are getting themselves in a lot of trouble here. Right, crowd are starting to boo here. Fair few penalties down this end of the field, says Luke Pearce to Fraser McWright. This game is going to be a thriller. I think it's going to go down to the wire here. French overrated, says Sisso. They're doing all right here, though. 1 point up against the Aussies. I'm also a rugby shorts and shirt and tie kind of guy, says Tahuaroa. And there as well. And Aussie penalty, grind at home for the win, says Sandor. Right, kicked into touch again. They've actually gone away for going for 3-pointers in the scenario, the French. So the mentality has kind of changed here. And it's as if they've decided now is the time that they have to try and score that try that would win them the game. But France, they have got the ball. They've got momentum. And Julian Marchand has got the try. I don't know what happened with Valentini and one of the Frenchmen off the side. I said every Aussie bush picky of us is power bite. And we have got there, I like your auntie, says Cameron. How this French team beat England by a narrow margin in the end, but we're going to see this rolling maul. It just kept on going. Australia tried to stop it. What happens to Valentini in the scenario? Does he get cleaned out past the ball? Right, that sounded like I heard Luke Pearce say penalty try. Tom Hooper goes to the bin, but because they were able to score it, it is the yellow card and they still have to convert. It's not pronounced Julian. He's not Spanish, says Gumby. Julian Marchand has got himself the try. And now it's back to a level play. Well, not a level playing field. 8 points in favour of the French. Could be quite hard to get to a draw in this matchup. We have got there Cullen. Still have so much to give back then. Says Red 7. It's like Fiji versus whoever game. It was Spain in that contest. I'm sure there was a Julian playing in that one. We have got there come on the Wallabies. You're nearly close to catch up the score. Push forward. Says Christopher there. There we go. Says Gambia. Come on Aussie. Says Sandor. And there too. Now going to be kicked off by the Australians. I should mention once again, completely forgot about it, ladies and gentlemen, but anyone who hasn't already, be sure to follow the Kiwi Lads on Instagram. Flick us a message on there telling us what you thought of the rugby or just a random fun fact. We know all about otters and their stone pockets now, so yeah, we talk about random stuff over on there. I don't have any posts on it yet, but it's coming up soon. Just haven't decided what to post. 7 points and a droppy, says Sandor. Yeah, with the 15 minutes remaining, it's starting to get a little bit close. And that yellow card of the Australians will not be helping them. Nettie makes his way onto the field for Gru. You need to make a Discord so we can share memes about the Irish. We have a Discord. But now that I know that you just want to share memes about the Irish, I'm not going to invite you. How old is too old to join Instagram? Says Studs Rugby. I've seen people who are 80 on Instagram. And Spain, Fiji, gets no reviews on YouTube, says John. I assume it eventually will once people get the opportunity to be able to watch it. But once again, blame World Rugby for having the game on at the same time as every other international match that has taken place. The fact that it overlapped not just with Wales versus New Zealand, but also overlapped with South Africa versus South Africa versus Ireland, tells you that no one put any thought into that Fiji-Spain game, sadly, even though, it turned out to be a really good contest. Penalty again going the way of the Australians. Around the halfway line at the moment. They have got 8 minutes remaining where they will be down a man. What is the decision? It looks like they aren't actually going for the post here, Australia. They're going a little bit more aggressive. Looking towards that corner. I won't hassle the Irish Discord link, please. I don't actually know if we've got any Irish people in the Discord either. That I can think of anyway. The only post I'm seeing on the Kiwi Lads Instagram is a meme from Boy the Movie. Oh, that's you, says Dexter. And also the way you said 80 suggests there is quasi minimum age expectation. Says Thuds Rugby. And I Hamish busy sipping. Says, how's it, my brew? In there. Now going off to the left-hand side, Australia again in a very good position on the field. Tolfa Fanoi has made his way onto the field for Miafu. Arudo has made his way on for Audrit. Now across, Edmed has a little bit of a juggle of the ball. Beautiful take from Harry Potter. Tries to offload to Filippo Ndangunu. Have to go back again. Malcolm Marks Player of the Year. Yeah, a bit of a surprise, that one. I'll be honest. I thought that it was out of Ox or Peter Toy. But Malcolm Marks took it out. And Ireland lacks the discipline, cost them the game. So here's Jan. As a young Tuolangi involved in this French squad. I don't think he's with them at the moment. Is that a little bit of snow? It's snowing at the game. I mean, it was 1 degree Celsius, so it does make sense. Has he played at all, Gumby, throughout these November internationals? I can't think of a time that I've seen him out there on the field. But yeah, it is snowing for this game at the Stade de France. Have I got a snowing effect? I don't think I will. Unless they might have a Christmas pack. Where's the Christmas? How do I find that? That would be nice, wouldn't it? I actually don't know how to do that. Okay, it's not that one. Now close to the line, Australia. Just a couple metres short. It's a drop off from Rob Ballatini. And now Australia, they have to try and shut down the counter-attack of the French. Quick hands from Biel Biarray, but it was a forward pass. And they are going to go back for this one now. I'm quite sad. I have a Thanksgiving pack, but I don't have I've got that. That's nice. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. Or a turkey badge. Happy Thanksgiving. But we don't have a snow one, unfortunately. Harry Potter has just tried to decapitate Louis Biarray. And that might get him in a little bit of trouble here. I can't get over the fact that it's snowing in this game. We had snow and ice warning all day here. I've been waiting for it to show up. Hamish is the humblest and most informative, and in my opinion, the best commentator in the rugby world. Give him a like. He won't ask you, but I will. Says Ruby. Yeah, that's something else that I really forget to do is say hit like. I also forget to say subscribe half the time. Right, it is just going to be a scrum here. So they aren't actually going to check that one. Well done, Marks, has always been an immense player. The Irish will be upset that he won it over Sheehan. And does it snow in New Zealand? It does a little bit, but not a massive amount. Like where we are, it's not high enough up that we get a lot of snow. I'm so excited to see snow. I'm a big child at heart, okay? I quite like snow. I only had snow that settled here probably like twice in my lifetime. So, I don't mind some snow. I've been trying to snow here in the middle of the UK, but it's freezing up here. Says Fleischer now short side Dangunu. That's a great tackle from Biarray. Now Valentini taking contact with Jagu, I should say. Currently 9 minutes remaining, 3.5 remaining of that yellow card for the Australians. So if they can score right now, it would be absolutely huge for them and their confidence in this game. Now back across to the left-hand side once more. And a penalty goes the way of France. In off the feet in the breakdown. It's a mistake that you can't really afford to have. But 9 minutes now left in this match, and that may have been the last big chance. And still, it's fun for the first day. Then it becomes a pain. I agree. Normally it doesn't sit for long enough here that it only lasts about a day or so. And South Island, New Zealand can get a lot of snow. Same with points of the North Island. Respectable so far from Oz. And also we have got there never eat yellow snow. Unless it's a snow cone that's lemon flavoured. But not a homemade lemon flavoured snow cone. That might get you in trouble. Throw in there. Nicely taken by the French. Looking for the offload there was Jagu, and he just pretty much throws it across to Anthony Gelange. Now look at a cut straight through. That is a phenomenal run there from the French replacement, Janot. And now down the wing, Louis Biarray celebrates that one as he was running it in. He knew he wasn't being caught, and that should be the game now for the French. And go to 12 players at 1 point fighting. Says Porter, and great chance for Oz, kind of blew that one. And yeah, now it's gone the full length for the field, and the French have been able to get themselves that try. What a try, says Studs Rugby Stuff. And we were just toying with the Irish, degrading them at home, scrum and scrum again, says Brett. And Ireland need to practice scrums, an obvious weakness. I think every side's struggling at scrums up against the Springboks. I haven't seen a side that they haven't been forcing back in recent times. Louis Biarray versus Marks, says Sook. And there as well. And that lad is bloody great. Yeah, great step there from, I think it was actually Calvin Jourges. I did initially say it was Janot, but I think it was Jourges who did have the assist. Yeah, it was. I can see the number on the back. I don't know why. Aline, the screen does not move when I move. Not a good tour for the Aussies. It's looking 0 from 4 for the Australians in their November internationals, just as their coach is about to leave them. Ireland is the world's strongest men per capita. How can they scrum, or how can't they scrum well, says Destroying Dumb People, at 75 points in 75 minutes. Crazy. Is that the maths? That's not quite the maths, is it? Unless there's another try that I haven't seen yet. Oh, another change about to be made. Why are the Boks so good at scrum? Seriously? Because they don't even always have the heaviest back? I think it's just technique. And they're very strategic, the Springboks. Now, this isn't me saying that they shouldn't be getting as many penalties as they are, because I think they should be. But for their scrums, they're very good at engaging, waiting, pushing, and then getting that big shove that forces the opposition back. Sometimes they'll wait a good couple seconds before they go, right, we're now going to shove. And that seems to throw a lot of sides off. Like, you can hold off a Springbok scrum for a second. You might get lucky and hold it off for 2. But you sure as hell aren't holding it off for 5 seconds, or 3 seconds, or 4 seconds. So it's just, that's the stage where you're always going to end up with an advantage against you. Okay, 67, but I didn't want to say 6-7. Oh yeah, I'm dealing with that at the moment. I'm coaching kids cricket, and anytime that anyone says 6 or a 7, that's just all they say for like 5 minutes. And I don't understand it. South Africa development and coaching is concentrated on scrum technique, paying dividends now. Now, Nick Frost tackled. Speaking of Frost, there will be a bit of one at the moment. It's snowing in France. Now, back across, Tane Edmed going into the wide channel, finds Max Jorgensen. The Aussies want to fire back into this game somehow. They would have to score in the very near future, and then score again just for fun. And Italy back in control, 29-14 over Chile. That's a decent effort from the Chileans, though. What you're saying is they might be getting the rub of the green from the refs, says Fleshins. And not understanding kids these days is a natural part of life. Now close to the line, Lena Cattell. Pick and go again. Another advantage. I said that very loud, so I do apologise if I yelled at anyone. But now Rob Valentini balls there again for Kalani Thomas. Nick Frost again, just short of the try line. That was close to a knock-on from Dalgunu. Ball stolen by France, but they'll go back for the penalty. We have got, it's a technique then. Should be easy to reproduce. They can't hide the technique from the cameras. And also the Springboks are on another level, says Wayne, and France deserve the win, says Brett. So any 6 or 7, the kids freak out. Oh, it must be 6-7. I think it's got to be close enough together. And if you just have something that's 6, then they'll add the 7 on the end. And oi, says LJ. I think Deportier's just run the full length of the field, not realising that the game had gone back for that penalty, and now he may have hurt himself in the process of the foot race. Come on, Australia, get a try. And thank you for the Mahi, bro. See you for the Lost Pumas game in the morning. Says Tahuaroa. And yeah, that's going to be a massive game when England go head-to-head up against Argentina. Alongside that, we are covering the game before that, Scotland versus Tonga. Looks like Australia looking towards the chance of a quick tap. I'm not sure what Monique said, but I assume it's not friendly. I know the last word, which I don't know if I can even say. 4 minutes, not enough for Australia to win anymore. Now Josh Nassar, oh, that's close. That's a try for the Australians. They get one back. Theoretically, if they get themselves a penalty inside of the half of the French, then all of a sudden, maybe they are back in it a little bit. Now we have got the Argentina will be too strong for England, but Josh Nassar getting himself his first international try in his 11th Test match. And we have got there points? And Ireland hang on with the Cards block win. The Springboks are a dominant team. Wow. I see you saying there's a chance there's Big Rig. I mean, they're down by 8 points with 4 minutes remaining on the clock. So don't get me wrong, it's going to be very tough to do. But, 4 minutes is a long time in a game of rugby. We've seen sides score tries in that 4 minute period before. I think they can do it. See, here's Ruby Tuesday. Right, the timer's back on and France will be kicking this one off. The benefit that the French will have is they are kicking it into Australia's half. Oh, nicely taken. And now, Tane Edmed going back across to the right-hand side. Jorgensen trying a step. How much extra time? Still another 3.5 minutes remaining. There won't be much extra time other than the last stoppage that they are waiting for. James O'Connor says Leonard could have been a handy player for them in this contest. Kick downfield by Kalani Thomas. Does manage to get the ball into touch. And again, Australia, they need some position. They want to find their way over the try line once more. Argentina have had a bad game because their previous performance was good. So here's R9. Yeah, Australia have been a really confusing one throughout this year. Now, another line out. And nicely taken by the French. Trying to get this one rolling in the right direction. Look at the head-to-head between the sides. Argentina have only been in England once. Says George, that is true. But Argentina, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think England are going to win. But Argentina are in a much better place than they've been in a few recent years, I feel. They've developed quite nicely. Now, Louis Biarri. Oh, there wasn't a lot of arms involved in that Dylan Peach tackle. Now getting over the ball, but giving away the penalty. In fact, they already had the penalty advantage. If it's going to be anyone when they click, says R9. And F off O'Connor, says Jamie Pearce. Well, he didn't play in this game and they're losing by 8. But Deportier, he is sitting there player of the match for this matchup. I don't think that one will be too debated. He managed to score himself the 2 tries. Alongside that, also was able to get himself almost the 3rd when he had to run the full length of the field to go back. But now France, they aren't going for the 3-pointer. They are going for the corner again, trying to make a statement here up against the Aussies. Long year for Aussie. Lots of games played. They'll be better for it. So here's Warren. Purpose of beating England, I'm sure of that. So here's Wayne. Being sure of it is a statement. Oh, trying to get that steal, Australia. Almost getting themselves penalised for closing the gap. Just the 90 seconds now remaining on the clock. Told to get out of it again was Alan Alalatoe. He's made his way off the bench. There is the penalty advantage, and there is the French try. They are over for another one. I must say, Australia has really tried, or is really trying, getting better and better for a young team. Needs some confidence. But that time, it is going to be Lamouth, who does manage to get the try, his first international try as well. So both replacement hookers have managed to score their first ever international tries. This one rolling forward nicely. I've just had the realisation, this game's been going for an hour 40 minutes. And there's only 1 minute left. This has to be one of the quickest games we have actually seen of international rugby in very recent times. Like, we've gone from one extreme to the other. That matchup between between South Africa and Ireland going for 2 hours 10. There's about 25 less minutes played in this matchup between the teams. Dear friend, it has been a rough night here at the workplace, or at work, after the workplace toilets came blocked with a heap of stuff, says Aussie John. That does sound like a brutal thing to have to deal with. But Hopefully it's better now, Aussie John, I think. And France win, congrats, they deserve it, says Brett. And currently just the 18 seconds remaining on the clock. The French, more than likely, just looking to find a way of putting this ball into touch. No real stoppages or TMOs, says Big Rig. Nothing substantial anyway. It really did not take long whatsoever. All that's helpful information. Hang on. We're going to have to take a picture of that. Oh, no, it disappeared. Although the French going back into the pocket, they will kick this ball into touch. And that will be the end of this contest. So the World Cup draw show taking place Wednesday, the 3rd of December, and that is going to be 8 p.m. Australian time. So that is 10 p.m. New Zealand time that is taking place. I just wanted to get note of that because I wasn't sure what time it was happening. And thanks for a great day of rugby, Hamish, says Philip. And yeah, 2 games still around the corner. Tonga versus Scotland, as well as Australia versus Argentina. Thanks, Hamish, and everyone. Great chat today. And didn't know you were live. Our thoughts on Irish pundits blaming the ref for their own ill discipline? That's a great weighted question, isn't it? I think that game was an interesting one. And I mentioned about it that it's definitely not one that I would watch multiple times over. I think that Ireland were ill-disciplined. They also, I thought they fought valiantly with the lack of players that they had out there on the field. I would have loved to see South Africa show a bit more attacking intent, though. Like, yes, they could have gone to the scrum all day, and I mentioned about it earlier on the stream. It was a mentality thing of trying to say to Ireland, look how much better we are than you. But that would have also been proven by scoring tries. And, yeah, it's just one of those ones that, like, I would have loved to see at least one quick tap after all those scrums. And they would have been guaranteed to score because there were 12 men on the field across from them. But they just didn't really, they didn't play like a side with such a massive man advantage out there on the field. I feel like they'd look at that performance, go, like, we won, we broke that streak, but we could have done more, if that makes sense. And Irish played well on defence. They did. They really defended well on their goal line. That was where they were most successful throughout the game. And it was just desperation, trying to get back into the game. And honestly, near the end, there was half a moment where I thought, hang on, we got something big coming here. Of course, that game before, the week prior between Scotland and Argentina makes us very hesitant to think that anyone by any margin is going to win. Can you give me an update in the Chilean game? So the last that I heard, Chile were down by about 15. At the moment, they are down by 20. It's 34 points to 14 after 74 minutes, which honestly I don't think is a bad score for Chile whatsoever in that contest, scoring themselves a try in both halves. What happened in the Welsh game? They were beaten by New Zealand 52-26. It was overall not a bad performance from Wales. New Zealand, they scored over 50 points and they are still getting crucified for the way that they played. There are still 10 minutes or so left in the Italy versus Chilean game. Says Hori there. Yeah, so they've still got a bit more time to be able to find a winner of that contest. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Got more coming up. Let's cover the Chile game. Okay. See, that was probably what Hori was kind of hinting at. By the way, is Hori 56 actually... I'm trying to think of... Is it Richard? Maybe? Is it Richard? It's switched the... Like, it no longer has you guys' names anymore. It's actually got it that it's the ats rather than the name. So it's a little bit confusing. Yes, Richard. And there, great commentary, Hamish. Have a great day, mate. Says socialism. Is Italy, Chile being shown here in New Zealand? Oh, it is. It is actually right there in the middle. 1 second. It is loading. Let's see what we can find. Go like that. Yeah, currently 6 minutes remaining in that Chile versus Italy game. And Chile actually have themselves a rolling ball and attack and a penalty advantage in their favour as well. I have no idea who half these players are for Chile, I'll be honest. I did do their games of the Rugby World Cup qualification, but I have forgotten them. So that's a bit poor on my part. Good night, all, says Brutes. And poor Chile, they have no chance, although they are looking to get one more try. And the thing is, even for Chile to be scoring a try per half up against the Italians, I would consider that a bit of a win. You've got to remember, this Italian side, they were beaten by the South Africans by about 20 points last week. The Irish played a negative game and affected the game in general. But it's very hard to play a positive game when you're down men. So I do think that probably changed the tactics for them in the contest. We've had a say in the last 10 minutes of the Wales game. They blew the score out, but hey, says Fleshin. Yeah, Severy scoring 2 tries wasn't on many Kiwis' bucket lists. But it's quite funny because he's one that everyone says, get rid of him, get him out of there. But in his last 3 games, he scored 4 tries. So now it makes it a little bit tricky. Yeah, I agree. It's nice to see teams step up. And we didn't play a game at all today, bro. Who wasn't playing? Lone Vork? Do let me know. Now, or unless you're talking about the Kiwis, maybe. Who's that ref? That's Adam Leal, I believe, is in charge of this game. I like how I know the ref better than I know the whole Chilean team in this case. Chile, told to use it here. They got some decent forwards, Chile. We actually saw that in the game up against the Samoans. Didn't they get like a man of the match or a try of the year candidate in their game up against the Samoans, I believe it was? They did something in that game that put them in a good position. Oh, referee's just gone down. That's not good. Lost his foot, but now goes back on. Didn't literally lose his foot, though. That would be quite painful if that was the case. But ball has been spilt. And penalty awarded, though. It's going to be a knock-on, first of all, and then turns into the penalty. 1 second. We'll go like this. And like, where is it? There we go. Managed to find it there. We need you to switch accents again, Hamish. If anyone can do it, you can. Italy is going to lead, or in the lead against Chile. Yeah, currently a 20-point lead in that contest. That one does go into touch. What do we got? We got 4 minutes remaining in that contest. Do we think that's enough time for me to get a scoreboard up for them? I'm not sure if it is. In fact, I think I know that it won't be. I was going to try and mix and match a little bit. And lucky a female didn't referee this game. She'd be cold, says the Hobbit. I think most people would be cold with the fact that it was 1 degree Celsius and snowing. Oh, Ignacio Brex gives the ball back into the hands of the Chileans. I think that's Garafulik in the 15 jersey. That was close to a 50-22. Yes, it is. Chile have got themselves another line out. You need a beer now, says Ruby Tuesday. All Chile need is convert a try a minute, says Big Rig. And when is the Player of the Year awarded? It's actually already happened. I have to say, they did it at a terrible time. Malcolm Marx won it, I believe, during the game, playing for the Springboks. So yeah, he's Player of the Year. Fabian Holland's Breakthrough Player of the Year. But they could have really just waited, couldn't they? Till now. Or they could have waited till tomorrow, when the players actually would have had like a bit of a chance of celebrating it. But yeah, just seemed, once again, World Rugby scheduling is just all over the place. Now, going off to the right-hand side here for the Chileans. Oh, Italy trying to get that turnover in the breakdown. Can't quite get it. Anyone wondering what happened? France versus Australia was 48 points to 33. We are just seeing the last of the Chile versus Italy game. Really, Malcolm Marx? Yeah. I actually would have given it to Ox, and I would have given it to Peter Steph before I gave it to Malcolm Marx. But obviously, it's been decided, and they've got to go with it. Oh, turnover there from Lorenzo Cannoni, but then knocked on by the Italians. Be another scrum feed for Chile. Also, fun fact, women do feel the cold more than men. Says Big Rig there. And also we have got the Island Chief. South Africa deserved winners, but we didn't express what we had been working on. Aside from grit and scoreboard pride, not much to celebrate. Scrum was a blitzkrieg. Yeah, the scrums were ugly throughout that game. Like, ugly for one side, that is. The other side, we're liking them that much that they kept on going to them time and time again. You see it there, Lorenzo Cannoni did have that ball available up until he did drop it, but currently just the 80 seconds remaining in this match. They're showing Alejandro Isecor, their number 6 jersey. Yeah, no offense to Marks, but it's an odd choice. Yeah. Like, I would have given it to Ox. If they didn't want to give it to Peter Steph Toy again because of the fact that he has won it many times before, like, I would have given it to Ox. I feel like for a prop to be in the running was huge. Oh, big scrum, and the Italian push there, but it is still in the hands of the Chileans. It'll kick him behind, attempted from Garafulik. Nice step on the inside. Oh, he's just about over the try line. It was to the side, and they get over Chile, scoring right near the end of this game. I think it was Saab initially who tried to break his way over. But Chile, this is a respectable scoreline. And who is it who manages to score? It is looking like they were showing Garafulik. But I'm not sure if that is Garafulik. They also said that it was the captain at one point. There he is. He's just turned around. It is Clement Saavedra. Manages the score. Block 1 player of the year. But we are going to complain about Royal Rugby, says Fletcher. I know that because Russie didn't get coach of the year. That is one that has fired people up the wrong way. Chile, says Ruby. Maybe he's just a top bloke and they wanted to be nice to him, says Big Rick. And nice try, Chile. So they are just checking that grounding. And it looks like it's fine. So it's more so the touchline that they are looking for. Yeah, dropping the head. Going over the try line. Now just the 7 seconds remaining. Who got coach of the year? I think it was the English Women's Rugby World Cup coach who managed to get it in the end. There's actually a massive crowd in Santiago for the Chile versus Samoa match. It was rather impressive. Yeah, huge crowd for that game. And Chile haven't given up today. This result will get them motivation for up-and-coming matches, trying to hook it around. Doesn't come enough. But that is 80 minutes through in this game as well. 34-19. Respectable scoreline for the Chileans in this game up against Italy. They've shown some decent moments. John Mitchell says Ako. And hard to argue that. The Red Roses have lost like one of their last 30 matches. Something absurd, says Big Rig. And there as well. And they're just showing that there was no ball in touch. So it was play on. And it was the try for Chile. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Will you be getting Cricket 26? Don't know. I feel like because they now put them on Game Pass every once in a while, I get thrown off by it and might end up just playing it through that instead of buying it. But I haven't actually played... What one haven't I played? I don't think I played much of Cricket 23. Cricket 19 I played a huge amount of. We actually played some of it on the channel as well. Cricket 23, not a huge amount. Or Cricket 22, I don't even know what year it was. The last Cricket one. Or Cricket 25, I don't think I played either. Not a massive amount, but yeah. Nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back tomorrow with more streams on the channel. The two of them, Tonga versus Scotland, as well as Argentina versus the English. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I will see you all for the next one.